Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, they've just launched new tournaments for this weekend. Last weekend we did the Dragon Tournament with the Galen Pact. I actually think it's the best one they've done where there's like a specific rule for a tournament. You got to choose between 4 different factions. I actually had a lot of fun building those teams. Looks like we've got different events going on here. I'm going to break down in this video the Ice Golem Tournament that's coming up. So this one is all about using your High Elves to beat the Ice Golem. We're going to go into that faction now, find out the best champions for it, and then I'm going to show off a couple of teams that I'm planning to run. But I do know that you guys are thinking, Christmas coming up, where do I get my Hell Hades merch from? I tell you what, guys, it's right there in the store. It's in the banner store for Hell Hades merch. You can go and check out mugs, face masks, hoodies, t-shirts. Get one for your loved ones. Enjoy yourself. Anyway, let's get into this video. So, High Elves then. High Elves taking on Ice Golem is actually tough. This is a tough tournament. I prefer when they do the alliance stuff. I prefer when they allow us to use like the Talarians or Galen Pact, because then you've got a bit more, you just got a bit more of a kind of roster to deal with. Whereas just picking one faction makes it really difficult for people that haven't got many champions leveled. And we know that the rewards aren't really that much better for doing these type of tournaments. I wish they were. I wish it would be a bit more of a kind of juicy bonus, better top-end rewards. But in fairness, they're not really that different. So for me, Ice Golem's a tough one because it's generally a bit of a hard pass. Like, Ice Golem's got defense gear in it, which I like. It's got resistance gear in it, which is pretty niche but useful in the arena. But for 99% of you watching this video, Ice Golem is probably like the least favourable dungeon to do a tournament on, because you don't really want that gear. You want the dragon gear, you want the finite gear, and the spider gear. So pretty much it's the worst use of your resources to farm Ice Golem. But if you're going to do it and you want to try and win your tournament, how do you do it? So for me, you've got a couple of things to deal with in Ice Golem. You need to be able to deal with Wave 2 if you're doing level 20, where they do that Shriek ability. That can actually wreck your team. And you've also got to be able to deal with the retaliation damage coming from the boss if the ads are alive. So you either need to have a surefire way of killing the ads before the boss has a turn, or you need to be able to deal with that damage as it comes to you. So, let's think about this then. We need a decreased defense champion. The obvious choice for Ice Golem is Tyrell. He is positive affinity. He's an absolutely stonking champion. He's going to be MVP of most people's teams if you've got him. If you do not have him, because he's got this AoE decreased defense, which we want. AoE decreased defense means we're going to get through the waves much quicker. It also means we're going to get through the boss much quicker. He also has got a turn meter control and a decreased attack. Everything about his kit is actually great. So Tyrell here will be really useful. If you don't have Tyrell, what other options have we got? We've only got, for me, we've got 2 options, which is not a lot. We have got Big Boy, Raw Huntsman as an option, but he's quite hard to keep alive. He does bring AoE decreased defense, and it's a 100% chance to land. His affinity is neutral here, so that's cool, that works. The thing with Raw Huntsman is he doesn't do his A3. He doesn't do his A3 unless he's definitely going to kill someone. So he's got all of this damage locked behind a move that he doesn't do in PvE content. We've reported it a million times. Doesn't get changed. So he's hard to build to keep alive, and that ability doesn't get used. So he's kind of like just way worse than Tyrell for the same job. We've also got, as a kind of weak source version, Fencer, with a weird shield that's just floating. What is going on with that? I've not noticed that before. That shield is odd. Just hold it, love. Just get a bigger one and hold it. But anyway, so Fencer does a weak decreased defense, which you can book up to being 100% chance to land. It's better than not having decreased defense. This is better than not having it. So if you're struggling for a champion to bringing in Fencer level 50, is an option, but her defense is low, so she's hard to keep alive as well. So who else are we going to be bringing in then? If we're thinking about speed, we've got a few choices here. We've got the infamous Apothecary. Apothecary, great champion. You can build him tanky. He's positive affinity here, so he's going to be in most people's teams. But a lot of you may already have your Arbiter. Arbiter, even better, because she's doing turn meter fill. She's also your chance of picking people up if they die to wave 2 and the boss. So build her really tanky and fast. We've got Lysandra, who's a neutral affinity with a speed lead, with turn meter boost, with turn meter depletion. She's actually awesome here as well. So we're talking legendaries now, but we do have a few options for speed. Apothecary, Arbiter, Lysandra, definitely the best. If we're looking at damage dealers in this faction, you've got Royal Guard. Just be careful he doesn't kill himself on wave 2. Be careful he doesn't kill your whole team on the boss with big retaliation hits. So although he's awesome here to speed your runs up, he can also make your chance to win lower. But good champion. We've got, in terms of other damage dealer, if you've got an Ethos, he's top tier. If you've got a Yannicka, top tier. Shiramani, top tier but weak affinity here. Bellinor's not bad either, but not AoE damage. I mean, really, that's your lot on the big boy champions for like consistent quality damage. Elhain is actually good. She will put out some good damage and do multiple hits. There's not a lot in the rare category that I would say is worth your time. So Apothecary, Elhain, Fencer, if you need decreased defense. Otherwise, don't bother. Hyria is actually not bad. Hyria can put out some poisons, triple hit poisons here, and she does ally attack. The poisons do not trigger the redemption hit from the Ice Golem boss. So Hyria could be a bit of a niche play to get some damage off with 2 moves. But again, really weak defense, so she's hard to keep alive. And then in terms of protection and healing, you've got Reliquary Tender, top tier. She can resurrect as well. So if you lose people to wave 2 or to the boss, she can pick them back up. She's got continuous heals going on. Throw her in a shield set. She'll help your team a ton. She's got decreased attack as well. Good champion. Really good champion. Other kind of support healers. Well, Apothecary falls into that bracket as well. You've got Thinasel. Now, Thinasel might be pretty clutch here. He has got a increased defense buff, which is huge for those big retaliation hits. And he's got heal. And he's got decreased duration of enemy buffs. So for that second wave when they do the shriek, at least you'll be able to take a layer of it off with this ability. But it's on quite a long cooldown. He's got a bit of a sleep here as well. He might be pretty clutch if you're struggling to keep your team alive. You've got Vergis, who could well be MVP here. So he's got reflect damage, kind of nothing really. He's got a lot of protection in his A2 and his passive to keep him alive and your team alive. So Vergis could be pretty clutch. Battle Sage could help you by cleansing off debuffs for the actual boss. So when you get things like the heal reductions on you, when you get things like the decreased defense on you, she can remove that and put an increased attack in its place. So that's pretty cool. And she's got AoE abilities. The Battle Sage might end up being pretty clutch for a team as well. So I feel like there's options here, but the options are not that well suited to Ice Golem. So if you do not already have a pretty solid team, I'd say you're going to struggle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run a team with epics and rares, and then I'm going to throw in my legendaries and just sort of see what works best for me. I'll do a couple of runs here. I'm sure we will refine this on my stream over the next couple of days. So if you want to come and get involved with that, come and do so. It would be good fun. But yeah, let's get a couple of teams together. Right then, I don't actually have that many rares and epics in this faction. I've got Royal Guards, which I use all the time. I've got my Tyrell. I've just leveled up a Battle Sage to 50, and I've just leveled up a Vergis to 50. None of them have got masteries. I booked out the Vergis. Battle Sage, I literally just wanted to get a book into Array 2, because that's going to be the important ability here. Didn't book out the rest of it, don't need it. So I'm going to be running Vergis in kind of quite a defensive setup. So he's got one defense set, he's got defense chest, defense on the ring, and the amulet. So quite defensive build, no masteries. I'm going to be running Battle Sage in, again, like HP and defense mainly. So we've got Immortal set, we've got Health set, a Speed set as well. So I tried to get the speed up and health up so she's not targeted. And then we've got my Apothecary in his normal build. So pretty fast, high crit rate, high defense. We've got Reliquary Tender in a shield set. That's a normal gear as well for me. High HP, good speed. And then we've got Tyrell coming in lifesteal gear, doing the decreased defense for us. So in this setup, I've basically have got no damage in any of those. I do have Royal Guards here as well. I'm actually fearful that my Royal Guards will just trigger immediate death for my team. So I'm not going to even bring them in. I'm going to try a combination of these. I'm going to just try these 5. So we're going to see if these 5 can do Ice Golem 20. Because I'm sure this is going to be more similar to the type of team that you guys might be running. I don't know. We'll do this as like the starter team, and then I will change to a team which I deem to be more like a speed run for this. So let's see where my 50s are. Both there. You two in as well. We've got a good defense aura here from Tyrell. Better one actually from Vergis, which is nice. Yeah, so Vergis is going to lead that. I've also got an all battle speed one from Battle Sage. So it's pretty tough to know which one of those to use. 19% extra speed is like adding 19 speed to each of your champions. Auras only affect your base stats. 33% defense, though, is probably like adding... so on someone like Vergis, that's like going to be another 300 defense. On someone who's got low defense, he's got a pretty good one. Someone who's got low defense, you're still talking like another 280 defense. It's quite a lot. I think we're going to go with the defense aura. You'll see here, I've got no negative affinity champs in my lineup. So it's kind of relying on slow and steady. Can Tyrell do the damage I need whilst everybody else keeps us alive? Decreased defense goes out. This first wave, I don't think... honestly, don't think many people have a problem with it. The first wave, it's annoying when these guys get rid of your debuffs and we take a bit of damage. As long as you've got somebody in the team that can take a hit, then and you've built to be your kind of tank stroke, damage soaker. So Vergis is that for me here, level 50. But because I've put him as low HP, high defense, he's basically the tank, the soaker. And then if he does drop, we've still got Reliquary Tender to pick him back up again. We do have heals coming in from Apothecary as well when we need them. So I think we should be cool to kind of get through wave 1. Wave 2 is when it gets more difficult, but because we don't have like genuine damage dealers like a Royal Guard in here, even wave 2 should be okay because we're damaging quite slowly unless we just get absolutely nuked. So let's move on to wave 2 and let's see how that goes. Okay, so straight into wave 2 then. Tyrell gets his decreased defense out early, which is nice actually. So it means we do get some damage off. So we should kill Drake. Is it Draco or Drake? I think it's Draco before anything seriously bad happens to us. That shield set initially from Reliquary Tender just gives us the ability to stay alive through the shrieks. And then we've got stuff like Lifesteal and Tyrell, who's our only damage dealer really. So he's kind of keeping everybody... he's keeping himself topped up whilst he's doing the main bulk of the work. But you can see, again, slow and steady. We just had that cleanse come out from Battle Sage, which meant that's why I booked that one down. It's really good ability. Just means that we can get rid of those stuns and keep our team moving. But again, it feels like Wave 2, we're not fast at all, but Wave 2 feels pretty comfortable. So yeah, this looks good as well. We've got the 2 annoying ones left. And we're going to get through to the boss. Tyrell's ability to sleep with his decreased defense is actually it's an ability that people forget about. It's an awesome ability. So 3 minutes onto the boss, roughly. At this point, we've got no block revives. There's not even any block revives in the whole faction. So you cannot speed this up. It is slow and steady wins the race. We've got decreased defense out. We're going to be taking damage. Obviously, things like the debuffs come on us here. We've got a cleanse from Reliquary Tender, and then we've got another cleanse in Battle Sage. So hopefully we can keep those off of us as much as possible. And really, we're relying on Tyrell. Tyrell's doing so much work in terms of damage. I don't have any other damage dealers going on here. So we've lost Burgess. We lost Burgess on the big hit. He's coming back. He's having another try because of my Reliquary Tender. He's now got Revive on Death on him as well, which he's probably going to need in a minute. Bam, there he goes. Down he goes again. So he's actually pretty tanking. He's still dropping quite consistently here. So I'm going to let this play through for a couple more minutes. And yeah, let's see what we do. Let's see if we win it. Well, we're 8 minutes in, 8.5 minutes in. It's been slow. I think Burgess gets the award for most sit-downs in a fight. We're going to do it. It's boring as hell. I don't know if anyone would actually go to the hassle of running 9-minute runs back-to-back for the type of gear you get out of Ice Golem. I certainly wouldn't. But let's see what we can do with perhaps a team that's full of some big boy champions and see what happens there. I was playing around with something else a minute ago. It failed. It just couldn't get the job done. I was dying too much. So I think we do this. And this. I think you have to bring a certain amount of protection into this dungeon. Otherwise, the boss just eats you up. So we get a decreased defense. Ethos as a good old smack. And we should get through the first wave pretty comfortably. Second wave's, again, like as I've said before, pretty hard to beat. Or pretty hard to beat if you're bringing in people that hit hard like Ethos, because that Shriek can absolutely one-shot your own team. Certainly, if I bought my Royal Guards here, without the ability to do things like resets, then my Royal Guards would just die. They're not built tanky enough to deal with this. There you go, Ethos sits himself down. Does a massive old hit, so he gets us through the wave quite quick, but, you know, the trade-off for that is that he absolutely nukes himself. Shield set coming in from Reliquary Tender here is quite clutch, just to give us a bit of protection at the start. And then really, at this stage, it's Tyrell dropping defense, Ethos bringing my damage, and then everybody else is just there to keep the team alive throughout all of the damage that comes at us. Even here, like, we take a ton of damage here. We take a ton of damage from these hits. So we need the decreased attack from Tyrell to go on the boss. Makes quite a big difference. There it is. We've already got the decreased defense. We can get some big hits in. And it's that fine balance of doing good damage and getting a reasonable time, and doing too much damage like there and getting massive retaliation hits when both adds are up. The way the mechanics work here, one add up, you lose 50% of your defense. Both adds up, you lose 100% of your defense, which is huge. It's just a huge thing. So, you know how much more damage you take when someone in the arena puts drop defense on you. Well, this is taking all of your defense away. It's just a huge kind of damage multiplier for the boss here. So I think this team does it. As I say, I tried another team where I was trying to get faster. I didn't have enough stability in it. This team feels like it's got a bit more stability. We're still getting one shot on that Ethos though. Still pretty brutal. Luckily, I've got 2 people in here that can resurrect. And all 4 of these are relatively tanky. So as long as one add is up, we should survive any hits with these 4. And at the same time, I've got three of my 5 champions here are healing in some way, so keeping the team alive in some sort of way. But yeah, I guess for me, I'm not going to be investing time doing this dungeon with just this faction. If they'd given us, like what they did with Dragon, 3 factions, bit more variety of champions to use, I would be going for it. But when we're talking about just using this one faction, which doesn't have great tools to beat this boss, I don't think it's worth the time. Even then, with well-geared 5 champions here, I could even struggle. I might lose it. Oh, it's close. Like, they've started to go for the boss on auto, which is what they love to do towards the end. But when the boss gets his hits, we take a high amount of damage. Just about do it, I think. Yeah, okay. So 3.5 minutes. It's not terrible. But for a cursed weapon, not for me, man. So anyway, look. If you are going to do it, let me know what you're going to choose. What sort of teams are you running? For me, it's not worth it. Up in hell, Hades. I'll catch you later.